Karissa with Artist Boat, and today I'm going to show you how we paddle on Artist Boat's kayak adventures. So you can do this from home and paddle along with me, and if you don't have a kayak or a paddle, that's totally okay. If you want to, you can grab a small rug or a pillow to sit on, and that could be your kayak, and you can also grab something like a broom or a mop that you have at home, and you can use that to paddle along. So come on and join me. So now that we have our paddle and our kayak, we can go ahead and start learning some of the techniques to paddling. The first thing that I want to talk about is how to properly hold your paddle. So you want to have your hands overhand just like this, like you're riding a bicycle, and you want your knuckles to face up towards the sky. And while I'm paddling today, I have to make sure that the numbers that are written on my paddle are facing me and that they're upright. So this will give me the best scoop for paddling today. Of course, if you are using a broom or a mop, maybe you're just going to designate one side that you're going to keep pointed towards you at all times. The next thing that we have to talk about is the 3 P's to paddling. So this is 3 words that start with the letter P that will help you have a successful paddle today. The first one is called our paddler's box, and this is going to help make sure that our hand spacing is correct. So what I want you to do is pop your paddle up on top of your head and make sure that the center of it comes on top of your head. And when you're holding it, your arms need to make a nice 90-degree angle or a field goal shape. So when you bring your paddle down and you look down, your torso, your arms, and also your paddle are going to make a nice box shape. So just make sure that you're holding your paddle a little out from you, not too close. So that's the best way to set yourself up. The second P to paddling is posture. So notice how I'm sitting up nice and straight in my kayak, that I'm not laying down and taking a nap, or I'm not leaning forward and touching my toes, right? I need to sit up nice and straight. And the last P is power. So a lot of people think that your power is coming from your arms while you're paddling, but most of the time your core muscles are helping to give you that power. So I'm going to show you with our forward stroke how to use our ab muscles and not just our arms. So I want to make sure that when we're learning how to paddle forward, that we're sitting correctly in our kayaks. So whatever you're sitting on, you need to be seated and have your feet out in front of you, and that's going to help us with our forward stroke. To go forward, what you're going to do is place your paddle blade, so that would be the end of your paddle, in the water that's right next to your boat by your feet, and you're going to pull that paddle to your seat where you're sitting. All right, so forward is feet to seat, feet to seat. So I want you to notice that while I'm doing this motion, that I'm twisting my torso, and that's helping me to use my ab muscles and not just my arms today. So why don't you go ahead and try that for yourself. Try putting your paddle in at your feet and pulling to your seat. So now that we know how to go forward, we're going to learn how to go backwards. And of course, you probably already figured out that we're going to do the exact opposite of what we do to go forward. So to go backwards, you're first going to put your paddle blade in the water by your seat. So you're going to start there, and from here you're going to push up towards your feet. Right? So I'm going to demonstrate on the other side, seat to feet, seat to feet. So go ahead and practice that a few times. So the next thing that we need to know how to do is how to stop ourselves. So there are instances when you're kayaking that you might be about to run into another boat or about to run on aground. And so what you need to do is stop your boat so that you don't run into that thing. And the way that you're going to do that actually is using your backward stroke. If you're going forwards and about to hit something, what you'll do is just some quick backwards paddles to get yourself stopped. If you're going backwards and you're about to hit something, you can do some quick forward paddles to get yourself stopped. So just go ahead and try that a little bit and pretend that you're about to run into something in your home and do some forward or backward paddles really quickly to stop your momentum. So now we know how to go forwards and backwards, and we know how to stop. The next thing we need to know how to do to maneuver our kayaks is turning. And there's 2 different methods to turning. I'm going to show you the first one right now. It's called a sweep. With the sweep motion, it's kind of a game of opposites. You want to sweep on the opposite side that you want to turn. So I'm going to show you first how the sweep works. Let's say that I wanted to turn to my left-hand side. I would sweep on the right. I'm going to put my paddle blade in the water by my feet, and it looks very similar to the forward stroke, but this time my paddle is going to go out and away from my kayak all the way to behind me. The slower that you do this, the better that you're going to turn. A lot of people make the mistake of doing it really quickly and it just makes a big splash in the water. So I want you to go ahead and try that. On your left or right hand side, put your paddle blade in at your feet, draw a big wide rainbow out away, all the way to behind you, and recover. So now I'm going to show you how we sweep backwards, and it's actually the opposite of sweeping forward. Sweeping backwards is a really good maneuver to use if you're parked in the grass or somewhere on shore forward and you want to back up and turn at the same time. So let's say that we wanted to back out of the shore here and I wanted to turn my boat to the left. What I'm going to do is actually start so that my paddle blade is in the water behind me first, and this time I'm going to sweep backwards and push my paddle all the way up to my feet. And that's going to turn the front of my boat to the left. So it's the opposite of sweeping forward. When you sweep forward, you want to sweep on the opposite side. But when you're sweeping backwards, you want to sweep backwards on the same side that you want to turn. So go ahead and do a little bit of practicing with that. So the next maneuver that I want to show you is how to turn your boat using the rudder. And a rudder is a really good way to turn your boat when you're in a single kayak, but you can also use it for a tandem kayak with a partner. Now you have to make sure that the person sitting in the back of the kayak is using the rudder. With the rudder, what you want to do is turn your body so that your paddle is parallel or side by side with the side of your boat, and then you want to drop your back blade into the water and give it a little bit of tension, a little push out. And what this is going to do is act like a pinpoint for your kayak to turn around. So if I put my rudder in on my left hand side, my kayak is going to turn to the left. And if I put my rudder in on my right hand side, my kayak is going to turn to the right. So go ahead and do some practicing with your rudder. Try it on your right hand and your left hand side and see how it goes. Show you how you turn your kayak with a partner. So go ahead and grab a buddy, whether it's a parent or a sibling or even the family pet, and y'all both sit together and try to turn your kayak. So when you are turning, you can use the rudder and the sweep at the same time. The person in the back is actually going to be the one using the rudder. Let's say that both Grace and I wanted to turn to our left. What I would do is put my rudder in, but which side would I put it in on? That's right, you're going to rudder on the left-hand side to turn left. And then Grace is going to do the sweep. Which side should she sweep on? That's right, she's going to sweep on the right-hand side. So I'm going to put my rudder on the left, she's going to sweep on the right, and that's going to turn our kayak to the left.
When two people are entering a tandem kayak, the person sitting in the back should enter first. The person sitting in the front will help by placing one hand on either side of the kayak to stabilize it. To get in, your bottom should go in the seat first, and then your legs can swing in. After the back person gets in, the kayak will be stable enough for the front person to get in. Kayak, the front person should step out feet first and push on the kayak to stand up, and then the person in the back will exit the same way.
So if you don't happen to have a partner at home, you can always paddle along with me. So we're going to pretend that we're turning our kayak. So I'm going to be sweeping and you're going to put your rudder in, and let's see if we can do this effectively. All right, so I want to turn my kayak to the right. So I'm going to be sweeping on my left. Which side are you going to be ruddering on? That's right, you're going to rudder on the right. Very good. Let's say that we wanted to turn our kayak to the left. I'm going to sweep on the right. So which side are you going to rudder on? That's right, you're going to rudder on the left. Good job, guys. So now we're going to talk about one of the most important things of tandem kayaking, and that's teamwork. So you're going to work alongside me and we're going to paddle on the same side at the same time. And that's what you want to do in a tandem kayak to keep your paddles from hitting one another. So you're going to paddle along with me, paddle on the same side at the same time, and let's see how you do. So how did you do? Were you able to keep up with me? I hope you had fun.